This episode of the Honeydew is brought to you by ExpressVPN, Stamps.com, and Keeps. More on that later. Let's get into the do.
The Honeydew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the Honeydew, y'all. We're over here at the Honeydew Studios doing it at the Santa Monica Music Center. I am Ryan Sickler. I'm Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. Go to the website, sign up for my email list. You'll be the first to know about any updates regarding myself, the shows, all that good stuff. And if you haven't yet, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's where the video is, youtube.com/rsickler. Also, make sure you follow my Facebook fan page as well. You'll be getting a lot of content over there. And the Honeydew with y'all, the Patreon. I'm loving it. We've already recorded a few episodes. Go submit your story. If you think you have a story to tell, just give me some bullet points. Do not write a 4-page email, some of y'all. Just give me the bullet points, and we'll go through them. We'll definitely get back to you. Check your spam folders. I've been responding to some people that are not getting it. Check your spam folders. And maybe we'll get to do an episode together. The website for the show here, honeydewpodcast.com. That's where you can go get all your merch, your hoodies, your night pants. I cannot thank you all enough. Night Pants Nation is growing. I love seeing y'all out there. And as soon as we get out there and do live shows and shit, I'm going to be wearing night pants. We're going to do a night pants tour. Look, I just want to say a huge thank you to the Santa Monica Music Center here, my friend Lana Negretti. I record here, and if you live in the Los Angeles area and you want or need musical instruments or lessons for your kids or for you, this is the spot. They're a family-owned business. They've been around for 50 years, and they're great people. So with all the uncertainty with the virus, they've been offering online classes, and if you live in Ohio, your kids or even you can get lessons from kick-ass local Los Angeles musicians. So go to santamonicamusic.com, use code Honeydew, and they will waive the registration fee and give you one free lesson when you sign up for a package. Shout out Lana Negretti. All right, now, if you're new to the show or if you're just coming back for more do, y'all, what we do here is we highlight the lowlights. I say these are the stories behind the storytellers, and it is a pleasure to have this storyteller back on the do, y'all. 4 legs, 3 DUIs, 2 passports from Channel 1 News, y'all. You know him also from Leatherman. Jimmy Josh Adam Meyers is back.
I always, every time I listen to this, right, I love Gallagher's like bed music, but I just want to hear you going, honeydew, y'all. Like, just throw that
I'll
in.
try to throw it in there.
Just, get that honeydew.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being here. It was very exciting.
Well, I actually showed up here for the piccolo lessons I have after this, so... Yeah, dude, I'm
getting some woodwind lessons after this.
This is like, I got a pan flute. I got a pan flute lesson coming up after this. No, I love it, dude. This is, we've worked so many times on different podcasts, whether it was the Crab Feast, Honeydew, you coming on the 500, you coming on the pre-500 show that never aired, the pre. So I've just been looking forward to this for the last few days. So
me too, dude. And look how far we've come too. Again, a huge shout out to everybody at your mom's house to start. I mean, it started this podcast in my kitchen because we didn't have the video up yet, and I did not want to let people down and have a lapse and be like, oh, I'll do it in March. I wanted to go right from the end of the Crab Feast at that Christmas episode into the do. And here we are in our own studio.
I mean, it's dude, like I said it before off air, like this is beautiful. Like, you should be so proud of this studio. I mean, just getting touch
these fucking walls.
I just want to be like talking in the middle, and suddenly this thing just goes like, and we just try to ignore it. We just keep going.
That canvas just
supposed to happen that way.
Supposed to. We got a team here that's gonna come in and just ignore them. Just keep telling your stories. The audio is still important. But yeah, we were going to work together, and then you got a
500
kick-ass podcast. So please promote anything you would like.
So Josh Adam Meyers on all social media. I have a podcast on Spotify called The 500 with Josh Adam Meyers, where I'm going through Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums with like huge comics, huge rock stars, actors, just people of influence. And it's great because it's an album a week, and we use the album as kind of like a roadmap to interview them. You did BB King, which was still one of my favorite episodes. And you're on deck for any other blues. And I might just call you. I might just call you up and be like, hey man, how well do you know about the Eurythmics? You know the Eurythmics? Because I need somebody.
Annie Lennox is my great aunt.
But you can follow you walking on broken. It's like, all right, Annie, chill out. We're at my cousin's christening.
Shut the fuck up, Annie.
You can find it at the500podcast.com and the 500 podcast on all social media. Check it out. I love making it.
So I'm very excited to have you back for just a lot of reasons. This virus too has been so stupid. It's nice to have some human contact and sit across from you. But if you haven't listened to Josh's Craft Feast episodes, they're fucking legendary. You got to go listen to those. And then his first episode here, where we actually did your episode, was a bit different, which I love because it was basically why you are the way you are and how things got to where they are. Yeah. So I want to go back to and listen to that as well, but I want to go back and embrace the Jimmy Josh that I know, because I asked you to come up with some stories and you're like, I got them. So, do what you do. Let's start with how do you say it?
I'll say it. So it all starts around 9th grade, because in 9th grade was when, and I've talked about this on the feast, but I had these friends, for the people that never heard, I had this group of friends that I used to hang out with. My buddy Greg, my buddy Siedenberg, aka Dead Cat from DeSheckles, and this guy Kenny. And they were the guys that kind of like introduced me into drinking, right? Started with like...
So nothing prior to that? You hadn't tried really any drugs?
I stole one of my mom's cigarettes, those extra long, misty
Virginia
120s.
Slims and shit.
Just like, you need a friend to light it. Like, light it! you turn, you have to duck. But I wasn't like... No, because I just never like thought about it. It wasn't like drugs and stuff kind of like, and drinking kind of started when people that I thought were cool were doing it. Do you know what I mean? And like Greg, Siedenberg, and Kenny were older than me. Like Greg and Siedenberg were like 2 grades above me. So when I was in 10th, they were in 12th. Yeah. And then Kenny, I think, was like 21. He just worked with Siedenberg at a Giant. And, but he was like the guy that used to get us all the booze. So we start drinking, like going over to like Greg's house and it's just like the normal shit. Like you have a shot and then, maybe do like 5 more shots after. You have no control over like how you're drinking. We just fucking threw them back. And then we go
back then also too, and I don't mean to interrupt, but as a kid, you don't realize there is an option to have 2 beers and feel, you know what I mean? And
2 beers.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When you're that age, drinking is to get fucked up.
Yeah.
It's not like drinking responsibly, or I'm just going to have a couple beers, get a nice little buzz, and, we'll let it wear off and go home. It's like, I want to piss my pants and shit myself.
When we realized how deep my mom and dad's liquor cabinet was, like, dude, we went fucking bananas. Like, because it was right there. Here's a television. It's right there. We could see it. And Greg would be like, yo, man, why don't we just tap some of that rum? So, I mean, we would just whittle down these bottles.
Wait till Night Rides
and then
at
just
a commercial. We'll grab it. Wait till Night Rides at a commercial.
We would, but like my parents would go to bed and then we'd grab like the rum and we'd pull some shots out. We'd mark it where it was and then we'd fill that up with water. To the point where I remember we had done that so much that I think it was like maybe like a year after we started drinking. Like my mom just was like around the holidays and me and Greg are like hanging out in my bedroom and my mom just goes, what the fuck? Josh, She's like, I tried to make rum cake and it was all water. And we're just like, I don't know. We're trying to play it off like, who would do that?
Did rum go bad? Maybe it went bad.
I think the rum turned. Woo, that rum turned, girl. So we stopped drinking at my house and we would just go to Greg's. And Greg was also this guy that loved fucking with people. Do you know what I mean? Like I called him the instigator because that was all he did. So Greg and I would just like nonstop fuck with Seidenberg, Dead Cat, to the point where we get drunk and like Dead Cat was like into Led Zeppelin. Like he was a huge Led Zeppelin fan and he would get drunk and just like find these empty Coke bottles and start like playing like fake drums, like using the Coke bottles. And Greg came up with the idea is like when he does that.
Dead Cat was buckets before they was doing buckets. Okay,
dude, we used to. I mean, he started doing it, and we would be like
buckets.
We'd be like, not buckets, but on the bottles. We'd be like, me and Greg would go, dude, holy shit, man, like you're good. And like, dude, I love Dead Cat. You know, he was just
is he
like
alive?
He's alive.
Oh,
He ignores everything about me, any messages I send him, like he does not want anything to do with me. And
you're dead to Dead Cat.
and it sucks. Yeah. Because we fucked with him so much, man. Like but it was like fun. He just had
fun
enough.
For you though. Yeah, you got it.
Well, dude, this is the one that like really, really did it, right? So he'd get drunk, he'd start playing with the Coke bottles, and we'd be like, dude, you're really good, right?
But he was though, right? You're not fucking
No,
with him?
he was terrible.
Oh, okay.
It was horrible, dude. No beat, like it would be like, and it's Misty Mountaintop, like just all off beat.
What was he into Shekels?
He was a rapper, but he was like the old dirty bastard of the Shekels.
Okay.
Like he couldn't rap, but he got better as time went on. Like there was like
Easy-E.
I ghost rode a little bit. I'm not gonna lie,
no.
but yeah, he was the homie, man, and I love Mike to death to this day, even if he doesn't want anything to do with me. But so we started fucking with him with the bottles, and then like Mike started going out and like spending money on like drum related things. Like he got like a drum pad and some sticks and he started carrying the sticks around and we're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like he's terrible. And then me and Greg said,
carrying sticks.
He's John Bonham in his head. Like he really thinks he's that good. And then we come up with this idea because I'm in a band with my buddy Tassos. We're like, let's bring Mike over to Tassos's place and have him sit at the real kit and like have Tassos like feed him some bullshit. And so we bring Mike into Tasso's basement. We're all there. And like Mike's all excited. He's got his sticks. He's like, yeah, I brought my own sticks. And Tasso's like, dude, go ahead, dude. Let's see what you can do. He sits down. I mean, garbage, like, and Tassos goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Are you telling me you never played before? And I mean, he just like starts freaking out. To the point where like he's going like to Guitar Center to try to buy drums, and me and Greg are like, dude, we got to break it to this guy, right? Like we have to. So one of those nights we're at Kenny's house and we're all drinking.
He's got a Tommy Lee rig all up there. Shit spit. I'm upside down.
he's like, I've been working on my flips. And it's all lazy.
Can you
like,
play twist and shout?
So we decided to break it to him, right? Like we're like, all right, dude, we'll get him drunk and then we'll tell him. And so we have him over and we're drinking, we're doing shots. And then Mike's like, so yeah, I think I'm going to see that drum set tomorrow. And Greg's just like, hey man, like we got something to tell you, buddy. And he's like, yeah, what is it? And I'm just like, I remember I turned around, I'm like, I can't be a part of this. Oh my God. This is horrible, dude. This is the worst thing I've ever done.
But was he that naive?
Yes.
That he thought he was good.
I mean, dude, I remember one time, like, I wanted to go out to eat at, like, in this area where this Outback Steakhouse was, but he didn't want to eat there. So I was like, dude, they just opened up this new place called Hot Fries. And he was like, Hot Fries? You mean like those little, like, Cheeto things? I'm like, dude, it's all Hot Fries. And so then we drove over there. He's like, where's Hot Fries? I'm like, I don't know, but that McDonald's is right there.
They made it open.
And he was like, fuck you. And he was just that dude, that you could fuck with. So we break it to him. He starts weeping.
Nah.
It was bad.
He
dude.
cried.
It was bad, dude. It was bad. I think I started crying too because I am so empathetic.
Angry tears.
Dude, I mean, these were sorrow tears. These were
tears of sorrow.
Tears of sorrow. Tears of
They
empathy.
weren't little fists all balled up. They were just they were caressing his cheeks, they're hugging him on the way down.
But that was so. But
yeah. Come on, he thought he was that good that he just.
Mike cried a lot. I think I got my crying from seeing how open and in touch he was with his own emotions. Dude, like, I cry a lot. I cried on the way here listening to the Beatles. Listening to Good Night from the White Album. But basically, like, Greg was that dude. And I know Greg is going to listen to this and be like, no, you were that dude, but no bullshit. He's the instigator. Like, I mean, Greg used to do so much fucked up shit to me. Like, I remember when, like, it started with, like, you fall asleep and they start writing on your face. And then Greg advanced to, like, gluing my socks to my feet. Yeah, like he would, like, I'd fall asleep.
That's a good move.
You'd be passed out and he'd just lift up your sock and take, like, some Elmer's and go, and then just, like, pat it in.
I want to do that.
And then my leg's hairy as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a Yeti, so it would be like... dude, you could not get drunk with him. He would fuck with you every time. The worst one that he ever did was...
Wait, hold on. So what happened after he started crying about the drums? That was a rap on it? He didn't believe in himself enough, like, well, fuck you, I'll show you.
It was a rap on the drums.
It was.
I never saw him play Coke bottles ever again. Like, that was last time he played the Coke bottles. But, we were such a tight group, and I mean this, like, even though we fuck with him, like, there was so much love there, man. Like, I love that guy. But he would just, do what we all did when Greg fucked with us, or if I fucked with you, or whoever fucked with us. We'd chalk it up and go, all right. I think he spent some time away from us a little bit, but not, like, disowned us. It wasn't until later where all that shit piled up, and then he was like, he got into a relationship and he was like, I'm fucking out. And then he broke up with his wife and then came back to us, and we were like, you're back. And then he got with a new girl and he
like, I'm out
took off again. But Greg would just, he would fuck with me. I remember one time I got drunk and I fell asleep, and I must have fallen asleep like this, like curled up on the couch. And when I woke up, I was just like, oh shit, what time is it? And they're like, dude, it's 3:30 in the morning. And I was like, oh fuck, I gotta get home. My parents are gonna be pissed. And I go to the bathroom and they turn the lights on and look in the mirror. He put, like, red lipstick, like, on my face, like I was David Bowie. Like, it was like, dude,
like the whole triangle.
The whole thing, dude. And I remember I was like walking home pissed too, and a cop sees me. And the cop, like, pulls up and goes,
like,
what
hey, Ziggy.
He's like, yeah. He's like, oh shit, Suffragette City. But Greg, but basically just saying is that I did as much evil shit, to people as Greg did too. But this is the one that is, like, I think one of our best and funniest ones, which was, so I'm in 9th grade, Greg's in 11th, right? And I'm I'm not, like, popular in the school yet, but I'm just, like, the funny guy. I had such bad ADD, and my parents, because of my hyperactivity, were giving me, like, I remember getting Ritalin.
Oh, you had HAD.
I had ADHD. ADHD.
A lot of D.
But it was because, like, I was so hyperactive as a kid. Like, in kindergarten, I was taking Ritalin. And then I remember and then by the time I got to middle school and high school, I would take an Adderall in the morning, and then I'd have to come back at lunch and take another Adderall.
What, the nurse would give it?
Yeah, dude, they had some of my medicine. They were probably stealing some too. I'm not gonna lie. You can sell those Adderalls back in the day for like $8 a pop. But the thing was just like, it didn't work for me in the sense that it focused me. It just made me more hyper. And everybody else just wrote it off as, I guess, like, no, it's working. But I mean, I could not pay attention. But I was just, like, at an all-time high of fucking with people and, like, making fun of people in class and disrupting. And there was a guy in my school named Brian. Let's call him Brian Gladden. And he was this bumpkin country guy that, I mean, was just short of a few brain cells. Like, he was just like, everybody like kind of like not fucked with him, but just he was like easy to get into, like, you know, have fun with. Because if you could just look at him and be like, you could look at him and go like, Gladden, and he'd go, oh yeah, like loud as fuck in the class, and he'd stand up and be like, we're going to get down. Like, he was just gone. And of course, I'm in every class with him. So what was I say about me?
Yeah, right.
But like, we were in class, and I think Greg had the idea just to start teasing about something. We were really obsessed with this NFL player for the Redskins. I don't know if you remember him, named Al Noga. Remember Al Noga?
No.
Played for the Vikings. He was just some big Samoan dude. Like, he was like a heavy version of Jimmy the Superfly Snuka. Okay. Had the curly hair. Like, and he was playing for the Redskins at the time. This is probably 1992. So right after the Super Bowl, 92, 93. And me and Greg, I think, had a class with him. And I started saying to Brian, I was like, yo, man, I was like, you want to buy some Noga Beans? And he'd be like, what's Noga Beans? And I'm like, you know, it's drugs, man. And he's like, I don't do drugs. And we were like, oh, okay. Well, if you ever want Noga Beans, you just let us know, right? So that goes on for maybe like 2 weeks.
And like people around them are talking about them, like just keep
nobody knows about Noga Beans. It's just B Gladden and me and Greg. And then, like, I think it got to a point where at one point, like, I was like, yo, man, I was like, I still got those Noga Beans. And he just like stands up in the class and goes, I don't want any Noga Beans. And then the teacher's like, what is going on here? And kind of like pulls Brian and goes to talk to him. And then the next day at class, like, I show up and I have cops waiting for me. And we get pulled into the office. First, they take us to our lockers. They're like, dude, I mean, like 3 cops, the principal, Dave Allen, the assistant principal, Wayne Wiggum's there, like all.
And Al Noga's there for that.
they got Al Noga.
Al Noga.
They got Mark Schlereth there for some reason. I don't know why Mark Schlereth.
Mark Rippon showed up.
Dude.
So when you shit yourself, when you get to school that morning or when you get to that class?
When I got to that class, the timing of it, from my understanding, if I can remember correctly, it was like, I remember I walked into class and then I got called out immediately. The teacher said, hey, they're waiting. So the principal wants to talk to you outside. And the principal was standing there with the cops. And then they had Greg too. And Greg is just kind of like giggly, but like also a little scared white. Like, he was just like, we didn't really know what this was yet. And they take us over to the locker. And Wayne Wiggum's like, they start digging through my locker. They're like, where are the Noga Beans? Where are the Noga Beans? And I was like, no, you we're kidding, right? And he goes, where are the Brian Madden says you've been trying to sell them drugs. They're called Noga Beans. We've never heard of them. Where are they?
They think you guys are like the fucking. I mean, you're the tipping point of some whole new shit.
I mean, they're like pushing on the back of the locker to see if there's like a false thing you can open
y'all
up.
think fentanyls bad? Wait till you get a hold of them Noga Beans.
You get them Noga Beans. You get the strength of 5 Tongans.
They're ripping your 5 Al Nogas in here, man.
And
they're ripping your shit apart.
Ripping my shit apart. Like,
and the principal's there watching everything.
Like, and they pull us in. Basically, principal, they take us to the office after that. And they're like, sorry, so where is it? And we're like, so we're kidding around with them. Like, we made it up. It's Al Noga Beans. And they're like, the Washington Redskin? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah. And I remember Wayne Wiggum just looked at me. He goes, you dumb motherfucker. Like, what is your problem? And then I had to call my mom. I call both of our parents. Like, my mom finds out. Like, I get grounded. Not that big a deal in the end, but it's still like the idea of just,
because this kid went home. He told his parents that someone was trying to sell him drugs. They were like, bullshit, fuck that.
I mean,
overnight that all happened.
They probably, like, the cops probably like came to Brian Gladden's house and was like, it took a report.
Oh yeah,
he's
they're
like,
right.
he's like, so tell us what they had. They had Noga Beans. And that was my 9th grade year in high school. So already, like,
Right.
I'm kind of like...
cops show up. There's rumors probably flying everywhere about what that is.
And then I started hanging out with, like, Tassos and Ben. And then I actually started doing drugs. Like, I started smoking pot and LSD and all that stuff, which was, you know... I always say this. It was just, you know, when you could do psychedelics without, you know, the knowledge of... taxes and credit reports and rent. It's the greatest thing ever.
Responsibility. Yeah.
But I'm still just this dude in my high school that, like, I'm a little guy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you know, I was probably like 5'3", 5'4", maybe. You know, I hadn't really hit my like growth spurt. And so when I got into 10th grade, there wasn't like, no, it wasn't 10th grade. It was 11th grade. When I got into 11th grade, so my sister's already out of school. It's just the grade above me that's pretty popular. And I'm just kind of like finding my way. And so I started taking, it was a class. It was the morning announcements, televised morning announcements, right? And
This is your prerequisite to Channel 1, ain't it?
which is funny that I put that on my application. Like I was on my res. I was like, I did chat. I was like, but it started as just, it was a bullshit class that you could take, right?
And did you get credit for it, or was it extra credit, or?
It was a
you
class.
were the
No,
guy that I would walk in right at like whatever time in homeroom, and I'm hearing the announcements.
Yeah.
That's you up there.
Yeah, but then I remember
like what game? The football's Friday
Yes.
and all that.
It started with me just doing the voice announcements. We do like the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would work with a couple other people. We'd change out. But I remember when I started taking the televised morning announcements, because they had like a makeshift studio, like literally built in the school, and like the big ass fucking television cameras. And they didn't really put me on air that often because I was a pothead, like stoner kid and with horrible hyperactivity, just jacked up on Adderall. And finally, where it really, really, really got cool was that I was behind the camera, and they started adding these little like segments to the show. They had added this thing for this girl to do called Music Mania, and it was on Fridays. And this black chick was kind of like the host of it, where she talk about they do all the stuff about the school, and then they'd cut to her, and she'd be like, check out that new Jodeci song. It's up riding up the tracks, and don't forget to check out this song, and blah blah blah. It was all BS and like filler. But she does that for a couple weeks. Nobody gives a shit about it, right? And then one episode, she goes up there, does her whole spiel, and at the end of it, she goes, and also, I want to give a shout out to all my brothers going to the Million Man March this weekend. And like she did that, they aired that, but then the principal saw that, and the principal's black too, but he just goes where he's like, listen, we can't have that on the morning announcements. It's not part of the school. We have to, you can talk about music. So they say to her, they're just like, listen, we feel it'd be better just to take you off of that. Right. And they're like, they're going to take her off as a host of Music Mania. And they're like, well, who else wants to do it? And I didn't recommend myself.
So because she says the Million Man March, they remove her? Oh.
Not from the class, just from that segment.
Right.
Because I think you weren't allowed to like, I don't know what the rules are. This is 1994, 95, like, in America. And also I think like the Million Man March, I think also had a bad connotation to some people because of Louis Farrakhan. And at the time it was just like a very like touchy subject, especially in a very racially divided school, because Germantown, Seneca Valley, I mean, dude, it was just nonstop fights between like white kids, black kids, Mexican kids, like
Maryland fights. Maryland fucking fights.
Dude, we had so many fights in that school. So it was just, I could see why something like that would be like, yo, we got to cut that. So they're like, who's going to do the Music Mania? And they're like, why don't we have Josh do it? I was like, all right. So they do the regular like studio shit. They do like, the regular announcements. And they're like, all right, we're going to cut to Josh Meyers from Music Mania. And dude, I had just taken like a brand fresh new hit of Adderall, and I am jacked up, dude.
Yeah, well,
I am
like a bull in that cage.
But dude, I just go off and I stick to the script, but I riff and I make fun of like the football team, like not in a bad way, making fun of them, but I was like, if you guys win this weekend, blah. I don't even know what I said, but it was just everybody in the studio is dying laughing, right? The next day that airs in the morning because we did them the day before.
Got it.
The next day it airs and I walk out of first period when they ring the bell to second. Dude, I am the most popular guy in the school. To the point where they said, all right, well, we want Josh to do all the morning announcements now, and then he'll do his Music Mania every Friday. And
so now you're doing everything.
Dude, I mean, I was like the Jimmy Fallon of the school, just walking out. How you doing there, Frank? People would be like, Josh Adam Meyers. I was like, what's up, y'all? I mean, the most popular guy in my school. That runs for about, I don't know, like probably through that semester. And then I don't know if something got cut or just whatever it was, but they're like, you're going to do the final episode. And so I was like killing the final show. Everybody's going nuts. People are crying in the studio, right? And I like, as soon as I'm done, I'm like, all right, everybody, that's my time. I'll see you guys later. And then I lean back and immediately the teacher comes out and the teacher's like, we didn't get any of that. And I'm like,
none of it.
Are you serious? Because I don't even know what I was saying.
Yeah.
It was just like stream of consciousness, comedic genius. Like the ghost of Lenny Bruce came into my body and I just killed it. So they're like, so can you do it again? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Dude, I bombed so fucking hard that all that fame I had, dude, they turned on me. People were like walking down the hallway the next day, like, that's pretty bad, Josh. I was, woo.
Glad that shit's over, to be honest with you.
If I was you, I'd study a little bit harder because I don't think there's a profession you could be able to go into. And it was bad, but it is what it is, you know? And, you know, I was still a popular guy at this point too, you know, regardless if the episode's bad or not, people loved me. The problem also, and I think this is something that still works with me today, is that regardless of how much I've changed and how much I've grown into like a good looking, you know, adult, like you still have this like baggage that you carry because I was that wild kid that girls I remember would be like, oh, you're really cute on like the first day of class, maybe pass me a note like, you know, I like you or whatever. And then I'd start doing my jokes and they'd be like, let's just take that back because I don't want to date a meth addict. And so high school, you know, I was, like I said, I'm hanging out with the grunge kids. We're smoking cigarettes. We're fucking playing music. You know, all of them are getting girlfriends. Tassos is dating Lauren Rostek. Fucking Ben Allen's dating Kim Gotzens. And it's just like, I'm getting no attention at all. And if there is they're not telling me.
Let's take a break for our first sponsor, ExpressVPN. So we all know how ExpressVPN protects your privacy and on security online, right? But here's something you might not know. You can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. And now that so many of us are stuck at home, it's only a matter of time until you run out of stuff to watch on Netflix. So this whole week, I've been using ExpressVPN to binge Doctor Who on UK Netflix. It's so simple to do. I just fire up the ExpressVPN app. I change my location to the UK. I refresh Netflix, and boom, that's it. ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. You can choose from almost 100 different countries, so just think about all the Netflix libraries you can go through. If you love anime, ExpressVPN gives you access to Japanese Netflix and be spirited away. But it's not just Netflix. ExpressVPN works with any streaming service. It works with Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason I use ExpressVPN to watch shows is it's ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD, no problem. ExpressVPN is also compatible with all your devices, so your phones, your media consoles, smart TVs, and more. You can watch what you want on a personal device or on the big screen wherever you are. If you visit my special link right now at expressvpn.com/honeydew, You can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's 3 months for free. Support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN. Let's talk about our next sponsor, Keeps. Did you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left. All right? You can get treated from home with this now. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription, but now, thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get hair loss medication delivered right to your home. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months, so you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, but probably never for this price. Prevention is the key. Keeps treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. Find out why Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and nearly 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. Keeps treatments start at just $10 a month. Plus, for a limited time, you can get your first month for free. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/honeydew to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/honeydew. Let's talk about our next sponsor, Stamps.com. Right now, we all need to avoid crowds any way we can. But what if you need to go to the post office? What if you need postage to send out letters and packages? Don't worry, Stamps.com is here to help. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand and skip the lines and crowds at the post office. Plus, you can actually save some money with discounts that you can't even get at the post office. And as if that wasn't enough, Stamps.com also offers UPS services. Shout out to UPS, Baltimore Hub, Primary 1, Joe Avenue, with discounts up to 62% and no UPS residential surcharges. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your computer in the safety and comfort of your own home, office, or anywhere else you're hunkering down right now. So whether you're a small business sending invoices, an online seller shipping out products, or you're just working from home and need to mail stuff, Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any packages, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send. And like I said, with Stamps.com, you get great discounts too. 5 cents off every first class stamp and up to 62% off shipping rates. Right now, my listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Honeydew. That's Stamps.com, enter Honeydew. Stay safe, my friends. Now let's get back to the do.
So we get into our senior year, right? You know, and at this point, I've hooked up. When I went to camp, when I went to summer camp when I was younger, you know, my first kiss was Kim LaRocca. The next year, going into 8th grade, I got a blowjob for the first time at summer camp. Probably way too young. Probably ruined me. Going into 8th grade, probably ruined me.
I don't know about that.
That's also one of the weirdest things I've ever experienced in my life, because we had like,
tell me how did you pull it off?
So
and is the girl older or your age?
So first of all right, so it was going into 6th grade.
Don't say her name.
So going to 6th grade, I kissed Kim for the first time. So we'd have 2 weeks of summer camp, and on the last 2 days we'd have an overnight. It was at Seneca Creek State Park, right? Mm-hmm. In Germantown. And dude, those overnights, man, you know, as kids, our parents would stock us up with candy, some Jolt Cola. So we'd just get fucking jacked up, dude, on sugar. And I was already kind of like 6th grade dating Kim. Yeah. And I remember we kissed for the first time in the tent. And I just remember it was just both of our mouths just open full, like, like no tongue, no nothing, just moving that around. Then the next year, I hooked up with this chick, Noelle, who was in an older session group than I was. She was like in the grade above me, and all the guys wanted her, right? But she liked me. And I remember we're on the bus, and everybody's like, so you're going to French kiss Noelle today? And I'm like, all right, yeah. And they're like rubbing my shoulders, like, whoo.
Fucking spitting water.
Like, give me some of that bug juice. Give me some of that bug juice. And I remember we're in the back of the bus, and they're like, come on, Josh, come on. There's like a grip of people around me. And I'm just like, all right, fuck it. Start the timer. 14 seconds. And then we start making out. That overnight, that year, I touched boobs for the first time for Noel. And it was, the most magical experience of your life as a young kid. Also, which made it even doper, was in the background, the music playing was the New Jack City soundtrack because it had Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up on it. But then, like, the song would change and it would be like, New Jack, New Jack, New Jack, hustler. I'm just tickling titties because I didn't know what I was doing. So then the next year, going into 8th grade, I remember I didn't have a girlfriend all semester, or we call it semester session. And the morning of the overnight, we all show up, and this chick, Jen, was dating some other guy. And then it came out. I think the night before, on the ride home, the day before the camp out, she broke up with the dude.
So this is not a sleepover camp.
No, it wasn't. It was almost two. It was
day camp.
It was probably 12 full days of daytime sessions. 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then on the last Thursday and Friday, you'd have an overnight. So we'd show up at 3 p.m. and they cook us steakums. We'd play like games, steak. Dude, it was honestly just, I haven't thought about this in years. Like, I could just remember the joy and the excitement. It's like, because anything was possible. You know what it reminded me of? It was like, do you remember how dope it felt to go to Ocean City, Maryland when you were a teenager?
Yeah.
Where anything was possible. Girls were there. The cool rock band t-shirts that you couldn't find anywhere were sold there. Like, it was just, just white trash people walking around. Just, you want to get a water ice? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So camp had that same feeling. And so she breaks up with the dude the day before. I show up at 3 p.m. and somebody comes up to her, one of her like underlings, and they're like, hey, just to let you know, Jen broke up with that guy. She likes you. And then would run off. So next thing I know, 2 hours later, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
She agreed in a committed relationship within 15 minutes. And I remember there was kind of an incident because it rained a little bit. So we had to watch a movie before we went up to the hill. We were watching My Girl. You remember that movie?
I do remember that.
We're watching My Girl. And then she says to me, I really like you. I remember standing up on the chair in front of everybody being like, she likes me, everybody. She likes me. We go up that hill. And I remember we have a little section because it was me and Jen and then Chris Salpino and his girlfriend and fucking...
You said everyone.
I don't care.
I know.
Chris is gone. He unfortunately passed away. Big ups. Salpino. But I remember he's in his sleeping bag with his girl, and I get in my sleeping bag with my girl, and Chris is just moving around a lot. And he goes, Josh, I'm fingering. And I'm just like,
he's telling you?
I'm like, really? And I was like, look at the girl. I go, can I finger you? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. And so then I go in there to do it. And Chris Alpino, I remember I always say this. He goes, just heads up, the hole's lower than you think it's going to be.
He's saying
He said that. Best advice I ever got in my life. Still to this day, I always go a little bit lower. Salpino knew. So then we do that. Dude, keep this in mind. I'm going to 8th grade. And then we go into a tent and then she gives me a blowjob. And then the next day.
And she's in 9th or she's
No. She's going to the same grade as me.
Okay.
But just then, the season ends and I go back to school and I'm just regular funny guy Josh. Because they see me all the time. You know what I mean? They've known me for years. They've known the stupid shit that I've done. So I wasn't getting that kind of play in high school. So senior year, we had this one girl that went there named Tammy, right? Tammy was so cute. She was just cute. I didn't realize she was a raver already at 16 because she was wearing the outfits. That I came to find that out later that she was, but she looked like Bjork, little balls on her hair. And she was also already sexually active. Like, I remember she was hooking up with some pretty fucking older guys in the school, like Aiden and some of the bigger black guys that were like very popular at our school, played football and stuff. And so she starts dating my friend Jesse, And we used to hang out in Jesse's basement and smoke weed and take like mushrooms and stuff. And I just like hit it off with her. And then me and her had this art class, right? And I remember the teacher was this guy, Mr. Moran, who literally looks like
a professor named Mr. Moran.
He looks like it might as well be Moran, Nash, and Young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looks like every 70s California rocker, big beard. And everybody would skip class and go hang out in his class because it was just the cool art class. And also, we had something on him because my friend Tay and Kave were searching through jackets, I guess, to steal shit. And they went into some jacket and they found a bag of pot, right? And they kept it. And then the next day, Mr. Moran pulled them aside and was like, hey, did you guys go into my jacket and grab something? So he admitted it because he knew we talk about all that shit. He was just a cool teacher. So he would let everybody hang out there. And so me and Tammy would like hang out. And so we would go back to my house. After that, we'd skip class and just like, she literally gave me every opportunity to have sex with this girl. And I was just too scared. You know, I was too scared to make a move. Now, we're going to pause the Tammy thing for a moment, and then we're going to pull up Michelle Gilliam. Michelle Gilliam, I'll say her name because all I'm going to do is talk really nice about this girl. This is still to this day the most beautiful girl, sexiest girl I've ever seen in my life. She was just like, I remember she was in the grade above me, but she wore like the cool rock t-shirts. You know, she had the cool earrings, you know, a great body for, you know, 9th, 10th grade. You know, and all your hormones are going crazy. Plus, in our yearbook, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but there was a picture of her like looking into like a microscope or like a stethoscope, whatever the fuck they're called, and like she's looking at a stethoscope.
Put it up here, look into my heart. Right?
But she's looking into it, and it's like her shirt's kind of low cut, and literally in our yearbook, still have it. Her titties just like hanging out.
Come on,
swear to God, dude, I still jerk off to it. Michelle, if you're listening, girl.
Michelle, your parents should have flagged that fucking yearbook stamp. Is what they should have done.
I think the principal was like, let's keep that photo in there. But, you know, we can't put that into the timepiece we put in the ground or whatever it's called. The time stamp. She was the hottest girl. I remember she'd left. She'd gotten into some trouble. Time capsule, yeah. I remember she'd gotten into trouble. And next thing I know, she moves to my neighborhood, right? And, you know, I'm like, she's a pothead. I'm a pothead. We like the same music. And I had heard that she had hooked up with a guy that was not one of the cool guys, just a regular dude. I don't remember his name, just a regular dude. And I was like, well, I mean, shit, if he can get her, I mean, I think I could have a chance too. But it just started, because she lived in the neighborhood, we just started this little friendship where we would just walk around. We'd go to each other's like houses and like to our rooms, listen to music, smoke pot. And, you know, we'd go down to Mr. Moran's, like we'd hang out there. It was just like, we weren't dating, but it was like, there was a real friendship there. This moment I'm about to tell you right now is the most honeydew moment of my life, because this is the baggage that I carry with me forever. We're in my room after school. My parents are downstairs. We're chilling. We're listening to the Beatles. And she's sitting on my bed. Gorgeous. And she's like, Josh, why haven't you tried to kiss me or like hook up with me or anything? And me, being the funny guy, goes, because and I say this in the most sarcastic way, but I'm like, because we're such good friends, Michelle, I would hate to ruin that. She goes, oh, stands up, takes her sweater off, just her bra, big, I mean, perfect, the most perfect breasts I've ever seen in my life. She walks right up to me, leans down into my ear, and she goes, I want to fuck the shit out of you. And I'm just like, and she goes, and then she looks at me. I don't say anything. And she goes, all right, I got to get out of here. I'll see you later. And then she left.
Oh, dude.
And I mean, dude, I had moments in my life.
Wait, that would have been your virginity?
That would have been my virginity right there with the girl of my dreams. But not even that, Rye. It would have been, I took initiative. I manned up in a moment and was like, no. I was like being confident.
Instead, she did
and
that.
so
She did that.
and then split.
It's like, oh, if you ain't gonna suck these titties, I'm out of here, man.
She's like, you want to fuck me? You want to fuck me?
No, this ain't doing nothing for you. I'm gonna put this
Dude,
titty
I
back,
think about
man.
that is still, I mean, dude, there's I still like gotta be bringing that shit up in therapy and just remembering that. And the worst part was she disappeared after that because she went to a different school because I think she had gotten in trouble or something. I don't want to add another story because I don't know it, but she was just gone. I did run into her years later. I ran into her at a rave, fucking. Like she was all gothed out and she was sexy. And I remember I was all fucked up on coke and like we talked and there was like a moment there, you know, but the Tammy thing comes back around because we're still hanging out during this time. And then because I hadn't lost my virginity and everybody assumed that I had lost my virginity, I just lied and said we had sex. She never denied it. I don't know if anybody ever asked her about it. But like, it was like, that was what everybody thought I lost my virginity to. But it took until I think.
Yeah, how many more years?
Not many more, maybe like a year and a half after my senior year. Not even, I think I was 18 when it happened. I remember.
When you lost your virginity?
When I lost my virginity.
So you got a blowjob at what, like 12?
12, 13. I say 13. I was a little younger, so probably 12.
Yeah.
I was always like a year younger. Like I'm a late birthday, so I'm in November.
It's got nothing to do when you got your dick sucked.
How?
Well, you know, I'm a Sagittarius, so
I mean,
you know, it works out, you know.
I mean, scorpions are just hornier at a younger age. No, dude, it was all there. There were so many opportunities this in my life where I could have like hooked up with some of these girls, man. Like, dude, I remember one time there was a girl at my house. I took her out to dinner. This girl was literally hanging out in my parents' basement until 3, 4 in the morning. Now, at this point, I'm 19 years old, right? And I take her on the date. She's hanging out. I mean, it's way past the date. She's sitting there waiting for me to hook up with her. The funny thing that did happen that ruined it was that we went to this place called Cafe Mileto, right, in Germantown, and I had the chicken marsala, had a tiramisu. We go back to the house. We start watching a movie. She's sitting on one part of the couch. I'm sitting on the other, and I'm just like, oh, shit, I got to sneeze. And as I go to sneeze, I fart. Loud. So it's like, just simultaneous at the same time, fart and sneeze. And I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she goes, what? God bless you. And I'm just like, oh, she didn't hear it, but she sure as fuck smelled it. That shit dried up her pussy so quick. She was like, oh. I was like, that's that marsala.
I think it's the teak that got up in there. Yeah,
all that olive oil. So
she left. Did she leave?
I mean, yeah, like,
it didn't matter.
It was over.
Spiritually,
dude, it smelled so bad. You know, it was like, you know, listen, I eat clean now. My farts probably have a little ting to them, but they're not as bad. I mean, this is like, I'm putting ecstasy in me and ketamine and all these fucking other
McDonald's
drinking, McDonald's. You're 19 years old. You eat like garbage.
Yeah.
So finally, I'm out of high school now because that had happened a few years later, and I still haven't had sex. And me, Greg.
So you never? I didn't know that you didn't lose your virginity
until
high
after
school.
It was my first year.
I'm
a
Scorpio, and the way the calendar works, I know should have been, but I'm a late birthday.
I mean, Mercury was in retrograde, so you know I can't deal with it. My crystals weren't clean, so we have this. So me, you know, I had hooked up, but there just wasn't sex. It was making out, and then, but also like I would make out with a girl, and then I just didn't have any tact or class.
But also, all the drugs you're on, your dick even working then, or is it just coke dick and it's ready to go?
By the time with the fart girl, by that time I had already had sex. That was just, I could just name 40 other times I had a girl like waiting for me to hook up. I still think that's a problem that a lot of the fans, like a lot of people.
Listen to me. Last year, I had a girl who I'm still friends with, that I met out here, but 20 years ago, married now, whatever, and everybody had got together one night drinking, and she just said, I just have to ask you, how come you never made a move on me? And I was like, huh? I was like, I had a shot, and man.
Yeah.
Whew, didn't know I had that shot.
I can't, so many times. Now, most of the time, like, I have sealed the deal, but I mean, there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 times that I can personally remember that was like, we went on a date, I didn't make a move because I just was like either too afraid or not confident enough in myself that night. So I graduated high school in 97. It's April of 98. Me and my friends decided to go to Myrtle Beach, right? Me, Greg, Dead Cat, this guy, Brian Mao, and we're going to meet our friend who lives in North Carolina named Jiwan, right? Jiwan's like a homie. He moved down there maybe a couple years prior. And we were all like super tight. So we were excited. And at this point now, like I've inherited the money. So I had like all the fucking dope fleece.
Couldn't tell you shit. You were fleeced out.
I had, because I went out and I bought $2,000 worth of fleece that one night.
One night. One fucking night.
I mean, dude, it was the holiday season. I was buying gifts for people. I had just gotten the 30,000. Well, 40,000, gave 20 to my parents, kept 20. And it was just like, I never had money. So I'm just buying people shit. So I never had clothes. So I was like, well, fleeces are in. So I'm going to buy all the hot ones. Nautica, Tommy Hilfiger, and that was my shit. And I remember, so we're going to Myrtle Beach. This is like, I got my like hip Umbros on, you know what I mean? I've got like my Adidas like chanclas. Just you feel like, you've got highlights in your hair. Maybe it's, it's the late 90s. And so we go there. And on the first night, like, I don't know how it happens, but suddenly we've got a couple girls in the room. And Greg and Siedenberg, they both had girlfriends. So they're like, nah. They're just fucking, like I told you, that we like to fuck around. So they're like teasing people, just being kind of like assholes, but in like a fun, flirty kind of way to kind of help get me and I think Jiwan laid. Well, next thing I know, like this girl's like really throwing it at me. She's cute. She has like short blonde hair. Not ugly at all or anything. I don't, but I don't remember this girl's name. And next thing I know, it's just me and her in the hotel room. And this is it. Do you know what I mean? You feel it. Like, it. Like I'm rock hard.
Do you
probably.
know if it was her first time?
Don't know. I don't think so. And that'll come after that. Because so we start making out.
She said, I'm gonna need 100.
She's like, for 200, I'll do half and half. I just remember we're making out, clothes start coming off one at a time, and then I think the question, do you have a condom? And you're just like freaking out. So I ran to get one, and before I'm about to put it on, she's laying there naked, and I was like, here, wait here for a second. And I run to the ice box, right? And I grab a couple ice cubes because I had only seen sex in like porno in 9.5 weeks and Wild Orchid. So I start like putting it on her nipples, and then I start doing it on her vagina, and she's like writhing around. But it's just like, what is the thought process in my head that is like, I don't know this girl's name. Like, I don't fucking have any idea who this chick is. But never going to see her again. But I'm going to give, I just want to give her ultimate pleasure. Like, your first
so why don't I freeze her clitoris? I got freezy pop. I got it, pops.
We're at 22 degrees. Can I go in? Get down to 16? All right.
Frostbite on your pussy, girl. Get some frostbite on your pussy down here, girl.
Dude, I did like 3 ice cubes. Like, I didn't just do one.
This is I know you've had sexual encounters, but this is the first time you're having sex, and this is your foreplay.
Ultimate pleasure, baby. Ultimate pleasure. People listen. You get down with Josh. Ultimate pleasure. You better know it's gonna get cold. You're gonna get frostbite on your pussy. Haven't you done shit like that before?
Yeah, but not the first. Like, listen, my first time, I was 15 years old. She was. I'm a Pisces. Okay, so I'm earlier. I'm earlier in the year. You know,
We like to do it during a blood moon.
But we were in the back. We parked at this old soccer field. It was like a Friday night or something like that. We drove her dad's Chevy Trailblazer. She was a virgin. I was a virgin. We put the seats down, laid blankets in the back, and it was terrible. I mean, we both were inching away, and then, you know, it lasted just a few minutes, and then it was over. And then we went back to her house and watched a movie, and she wanted to talk about it. Like both of us couldn't believe we had just had, like, oh my God, we just did that. That was it. Yeah. It wasn't. I mean, I didn't have fucking ice cubes and.
Here, I remember this because I remember I don't think I finished.
I mean, Ice Cube might have been on the motherfucker. Right? We'd have no Ice Cube.
America's Most Wanted. Ow, okay, is that a clutch? So we do our thing. I don't remember how long it lasted. I just remember I didn't finish. Like, I think I was too nervous. Or it was just a condom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think see how you can come in a condom.
I mean,
even now it's like, you know, horrible. But that being said, we do it, and I remember it's actually funny because literally the next day I had so much confidence, and I remember we go like we're gonna go to like a bar, like a nightclub, and Greg and Seenberg didn't go, but I was like, nah, dude. I was like, I'm going. I'm gonna try to get laid again, and fucking Brian goes with me. And since I'm underage and Brian's of age, Brian would go buy beers and then like hand them to me. And I couldn't because you're dancing, but you have to like kill it as fast as you can. I'm like 120 pounds at the most. I probably face like 8-9 beers. The next thing you know, I black out and I wake up in jail, in Myrtle Beach jail.
Just the video we see.
There's a video I've posted on my social media. You can see me being released from prison. From what I found out.
Jail. Prison.
I mean, I did take it up a notch. It was a holding cell.
It was a cage out back in the precinct.
I mean, they just touched my arm for a second and talked to me and then let me go on my way. No, it was, well, what I found out happened was that like Brian would give me the beers and then I started dancing with this like really, really not good looking girl. I started making out with her, took my shirt off, and then I went and sat in a booth and made out with her. I fell asleep making out with her. Security sees me asleep, try to wake me up. I won't wake up. They poke me. I say something to them because Brian told me all this shit. I say like, fuck you. They grab me, use my head to open the fucking big ass doors, throw me into some trash, which the cops happen to be standing by. They fucking arrest me, take me to the drunk tank. I remember sobering up as I get to the drunk tank, and I had never been to jail before, so I was like, oh, I'm this funny guy, so I'm just gonna try to make people laugh. Dude, I started doing like material.
Your morning announcements.
Like dude, it was Music Mania.
Yeah.
It was Music Mania. And I'm like shucking and jiving. I'm making fun of people. I'm just like, and it's packed. And I started talking about being Jewish. And suddenly, as soon as I'm done, I go to sit down. These two Jewish twins in matching purple shirts, always remember this, walk up to me and then fucking like throw me against the wall. Like they start choking me like Latrell Sprewell. And they're like, you motherfucker, don't you fucking ever talk shit about Jewish people. They're like, do you understand how hard we've worked to get to the blah, blah, blah? And they're just like, and I'm just like, whoa, are there really two of you?
Or am I this fucked up?
Yeah. And then so I get released, you know.
You tell them you're Jewish?
Oh yeah, but they did
at all.
not give a fuck. And then as I'm getting released, and my buddy Greg is like signing me out 6 a.m, they get released as well. And I'm just like, I remember I tell Greg, I was like,
see a temple, motherfucker.
Put your goddamn yarmulke on. Put your yarmulke on.
Put it all straight.
But yeah, so that was it. And then finally from that, you know, and if you want to watch the video of me being released, it's one of those moments, like a video that I am so happy it exists. I mean, like how many people can say that they have it? Because it's funny. It's not like they're covering me and I'm like, ah. Because when I got released, I had no flip-flops, no shirt, no wallet, no keys, no nothing, just on a pair of Umbros. That was it.
Ambrose.
Ready? Ambrose. And that was how I lost my virginity. And then after that, years later, I was at a rave. And it's funny because the whole Tammy Musser thing, I run into her there. We start flirting. One thing leads to another. Sealed the deal.
Circle back all the way around.
Dude, the greatest circle back of my life, in middle school, there was a girl I asked out every week. Every single week, this girl, Heather. I asked her out every single week.
You stalked her.
No.
I was out under her house.
I didn't stalk. Stalking is like stalking. I passed a note. Hey, I like you. You want to go out with me? Every week, no. Every single time. You want to talk about that baggage, that honeydew shit that you got? That's it right there. That's the shit that, because you're in 8th grade when you do it the first time, then you do it again in 9th grade, you try it again in 10th grade, and it's just no, 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 no. Rejection, man. It's the worst. So, I mean, I held on to that pain for a long time, and then I'm on my 20th birthday. My buddy, who was like the manager of this clothing store called Mr. Rags, takes me to a rave in Baltimore. After this point, because I wrecked my car, I got my first DUI. So I was like, it was like right around that first birthday after that, where I was like, you know, a mess in a sense of like, I wasn't going out as much. So he's taking me out for my 20th birthday. And we go to this rave in Baltimore. And guess who's there? Heather. She's with her boyfriend though. But she's ignoring her boyfriend to hang out with me. By the end of that night, I mean, she's throwing herself at me. By the end of that night, I had sex with her. I don't think I've ever felt better to be able to drop that baggage. It's the greatest birthday gift I've ever got. The only thing that could have been better is if Cal Ripken would have walked in at the end and been like, fuck yeah, dude.
Way to go, John. There's another story you wanted to tell me about Lollapalooza, and I want to hear this one.
Okay.
Then we got to get you out of here.
All right. So did you ever go to the Lollapaloozas when it was traveling?
Yeah, so I went, when I first moved to California was 94, and that was when Kurt Cobain died. And I'd already had tickets when I was going back home for the summer.
Yeah.
So I went to a ton of concerts. I saw Pink Floyd at the Rose Bowl here that year. Then went back and saw them at RFK, same summer. Lollapalooza was the same summer. And when Kurt Cobain died, the Smashing Pumpkins stepped in and headlined. And
oh God! I mean, I'm not shitting on Smashing Pumpkins because they're so great, but it's
Nirvana.
Like it's not Nirvana.
Sure.
It's like,
but we got, God, I want to say the Beastie Boys were there. I think the Tribe Called Quest, like L7.
Oh, Breeders.
Then Breeders were there.
Yeah, my sister went to that.
I didn't go. Charleston, West Virginia. That's the one I went to.
I didn't go to that one, but this was when
Charlestown.
This is when Lollapalooza started. It wasn't just it was another touring like Lollapalooza, but it was always the same lineup. I don't know if you remember it.
Like Vans Warped Tour or something
like that. Yeah, it was at Nissan Pavilion in Virginia, now the Jiffy Lube Center or whatever the fuck it's called. And it was, dude, I mean, you talk about a dope like early 2000s lineup. It was Jane's Addiction, Audio Slave, Queens of the Stone Age, Incubus, the Donnas. I'm missing, but there were some other cool bands too. And I remember I rode there with not friends that I had tickets with, but other friends that were going to go. Actually, it was my friend Jenny, who lives out here now. I think her and her sister were going, and I hopped a ride so I could meet my buddies. And on the car ride there, you know, we leave early because it's a festival. You know, this is like, you know, I'm really drinking. I'm doing drugs. This is still early. This is like 2002, 2003. And and on the ride there, we're drinking road beers, right? Dude, we're sitting in traffic. So I probably drink 10, realistically. We show up and I run into all my homies, and one of my homies, Matt, had some like Vicodin. And he was like handing them out because, you know, you shouldn't mix booze and painkillers, but if you take it just right, it feels good. And, you know, we were like, we're going to see some of our favorite bands, so let's get fucked up. So I pop 6 of them. And
6.
So I pop 6 because I ain't no bitch. I ain't no bitch.
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to see Audio Slave for the first time. So excited. And we're drinking. And then the next thing you know, I'm talking to everybody. There's girls around us. Fucking, we're having the best time. And I just got, my breakfast fart. And I go to lift my cheek over to the side.
No.
Immediately, I'm like, oh no, dude. Oh no.
All day festival.
And dude, there's
hot as shit.
Hot as shit. All day festival. This is summertime. I was like, here's the deal.
I'm about to buy a $60 t-shirt to wipe my asshole.
Well, here's what I thought. I was like, all right, I'm just going to grab some like paper towels or something and go. And there's some like foliage out in the background, some trees and shit. I'm going to go back there into the cut and just clean myself and then rejoin the group. But I couldn't find any paper towels. So I'm in the foliage. I take my pants off. I had brand new white Ralph Lauren boxers.
White.
Those are like $18 a pair. Brand new. First time wearing them. I have to wipe my own ass with
the
boxers. Now, nobody saw me yet. Because then eventually Matt sees me because he was like, where's Josh been? And
where are you? Where'd you hide? Behind cars?
No,
or
it's because
something?
it's not. There's cars all over here.
Yeah.
And then there's like a divider between more cars, but it's just grass and like a little dip.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like bushes and a couple trees. Like I'm in the thick of that. But little did I know that you could see my face
Clearly.
through. I'm covered, but you could just see me like going. And Matt's like, the fuck you doing, Josh? And I'm just like, nothing. He's like, did you shit yourself? And I'm like, nah. And I just throw the underwear, meet my way back, start pounding beers. I feel clean enough. So we get into the concert and we
show hadn't even started yet.
Nothing had started.
That's an all-day festival. Hadn't even started.
10 in the morning probably, dude. And I'm already a fucking mess. And we get into the concert.
6 pills and one shit.
And I remember my buddy Scotty was like, had been dating this girl. I don't dating. He's hooking up with this girl. Because we get beers the second we get in there, man. And I just remember, it's like, I don't remember everything. I just remember flashes of what happened. I remember the girl that Scotty was fucking attacking me, just in a line. Like I remember we're waiting for line and she's arguing with me and I start arguing with her about whatever it is. And she rushes me. And then Scotty, who's a big dude, like literally like clotheslines or not, like just trying to hold her back because she runs so fast and he just puts his arm out. He's got these huge, like thick arms and just knocks her down. And he's like, Josh, you need to get the fuck out of here. And I'm just like, fuck this shit, man. I don't need this shit. And I'm just drunk, acting a scene. And then
I've been to prison.
Yeah.
Prison. Is it a Holden?
Pelican Bay. All day. 23-hour lockdown.
Oh shit. So what do? You flex?
I don't know. That part moves on. All I remember is I don't know what I do if I try to steal beers or I try to steal a t-shirt or something.
Or all the above.
Probably all of the above. I remember security grabbing me and just walking me out and me being like, fuck you guys, I paid for this ticket, fuck you, I didn't do anything wrong. And they throw me out and I keep trying to get back in and they're just like, they're done. They're like, dude, if you don't leave, we're gonna call the police. So I'm like, fuck you guys. So I keep walking. And I see that behind all this foliage, there's this, I go to the other side of the venue. There's this high ass fence, dude.
Like how high?
Dude.
20, 30 feet?
Fuck. I was about to say yards. I just remember looking up at it and being like, I can do that. And dude, I fucking scale this fence. I get to the top. I start trying to come down and I remember just falling, landing on my back.
You fell the whole way?
I fell on the back. I'm laying on the ground. I think I knocked myself out. Like, 'cause I just remember suddenly, like, I wake up and I'm just like, oh shit. I heard like Audio Slave playing. I mean, and
you were in?
I was in. I run through. I am covered in dirt.
And shit.
Dirt and shit. And I get to the pavilion part. Not the pavilion, the field part. I get to the field part and I run into all my buddies, Joel and fucking Paul, all the dudes, and they're like, look at me. And I mean, I've got like scrape. like I look like Tom Hanks in Castaway, you know what I mean? And my clothes are ripped. And I'm just like, nah, yeah. I made it back in, man. I made it back in, and I remember the car ride home. Nobody wanted to sit next to me because it smelled like shit.
Yeah, shit. I mean, dude, I love you, dude.
I love you.
I'm
too.
glad that story had a happy ending.
Oh, it's dude.
That's a good one.
It's the same shit I say every time I do this. I love that I could take these stories that have held me back in so many ways, and to tell them on the HoneyDew and the Crab Feast and the 500. It's like you're taking these negatives and making them a positive. Like what you're doing with this podcast is something that the Crab Feast could never do, which is like actually you're helping people, because a lot of these people, dude, I bet you you probably got 100 fans that shit themselves at Lollapalooza. It's like I shit myself at Lilith Fair.
Well, thank you for saying that.
My pleasure, dude. I love this.
I'm glad. I'm happy to be doing the show. I love doing the show, and I love having you on. Please, again, plug everything you want, your social media, the podcast, all that.
All right, at Josh Adam Meyers on all social media. The podcast is The 500 with Josh Adam Meyers on Spotify. Join the movement and check out. It comes out June 12th. So probably when this comes out or whatever, check out the new season of F is for Family on Netflix. I play DJ Helen Hank. It's a great show. And yeah, dude, I love you, dude. Thank you for having me on.
I love you.
This was like the best way to celebrate a day during quarantine is just to kick it with you and talk about my shit.
Finally loosening up. Thank God, dude. And thank you all as well. I am Ryan Sickler on all social media. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It will be a link in the episode description here at the end of the show, and we'll talk to you all next week.